Sport, Arts and Culture Minister Nathi Mthethwa has announced the approval from Treasury for the provision of 7 million rand to Liliesleaf Trust following submissions of a forensic report on governance lapses. The department terminated financing for the museum last year as after operators failed to account for an 8.1 million rand donation. The minister joins us now for the latest on this intervention. Thank you very much for availing yourself on this Sunday afternoon. Let's start perhaps with this forensic report. What has it revealed?
Well, it has revealed what we've always been pointing to, which is issues of mismanagement of funds or utilization of funds in breach of the Memorandum of Understanding, which was between the Liliesleaf Farm and the department. So we have now this report, and we had to go back to the Treasury for approval. But that approval is conditional, that we need a clear line of sight of how is this or are these funds going to benefit, one, the employees who are victims unnecessarily and unfortunately because of how this management has happened, but two, how is the Liliesleaf farm is going to be turned around to ensure that there is a sustainable economic recovery plan. But also, I'm glad that finally the board of Liliesleaf has decided that they want to be declared a cultural institution, something which we have been panting for years as the department. And I think that with all of that, we'll see Liliesleaf getting back to its feet and ensure that this very important heritage site survives. As we said when everything started, that this institution is bigger than those who are mismanaging it. It has to continue for the generation currently and posterity.
Minister, you speak of a mismanagement of funds, so why pump more money into this institution? With regards to the conditions that are in place, have those who have been found guilty of mismanagement been let go? Are they still holding on to their positions?
That's one of our conditions. This report and its findings are very clear. They say exactly what has to be done, which heads have to roll, and they point them out. And for us, we have to be certain that all of those who are pointed out by the forensics are not part of the process, because we'll find ourselves back to square one. And I must also say that the forensic report is out doesn't necessarily mean that we'll no longer ask for accountability for 8.1 million rands. We want that. It doesn't really put aside that, because you see that amount of money can be utilized by other institutions who are in dire straits, who would wish to be assisted. So we still demand accountability.
Minister, we understand it, or as we understand it, according to some reports, the farm runs on a 1 million rand monthly budget, if you will, with costs going towards salaries, utilities, water, etc. This money that the department is giving to this institution, it would seem it would last them for 7 months. Are you satisfied that, with the pumping of these funds into this utility and 7 million rand will be sufficient? You speak of the significance of this institution.
Part of the preconditions would be to ensure that we stretch this rand as far as possible. So that if there are things which need to be cut, those things will be cut to ensure that the institution is actually rebooted, this business and so on. But remember that the major thing now with Liliesleaf Farm is that we are starting a process of declaring it as a cultural institution, which means that it will be getting funding like other institutions which are under our department, and all of this toing and froing on grants and so on will come to an end. Because we very much are in a mode where generally grants and reliefs, we want them to be a thing of the past. We want to concentrate on what the institutions and entities would be doing to sustain their own themselves as institutions. You would have seen that there are some of them recently opened a hip hop museum, the technical and production side of things, which the Center of South African Roadies Association, which we have also opened. All of those have a clear plan on how they are going to sustain themselves. And we want to ensure that the institutions like this are able to sustain themselves. And therefore, the preconditions for us are very important, that they don't only talk about how the funds are going to be utilized, but also how wisely are they going to ensure that we look at sustainability of these entities.
And how are you going to measure that, Minister, to ensure accountability?
Well, look, as I said, that there is a body of process of accountability, especially as it relates to the institutions which are under government. But it's not the first time that we assist institutions like this. We have a lot of them. It happened that this one in particular, there was mismanagement. So there is clear, strict rules of how the institutions account, because for starters, they are not given the whole sum. There are certain things they need to do, and they keep on getting tranches. And if they are unable to fulfill what they're supposed to fulfill, as a rule, whatever entity we are helping or assisting as government is not able to get the next tranche and so on. So the rules are there and are very clear. And for us, what is important now is to ensure that we get to those innocent workers and employees who happen to be victims of the mismanagement by the management of Liliesleaf Farm.
Minister, you point to some work, some positive work that has been done by the Department of Arts and Culture, pointing to the Hip Hop Museum. However, there's a widely held view in some sectors of society that says your department cannot be trusted. With the latest revelation coming in from the Public Protector's Office that the affairs of Miriam Makeba's estate, were not properly dealt with, saying that the Department of Arts and Culture wasted money in relation to Mam Makeba's affairs. If I can get your comment on that, please.
No, we are actually looking at our options there, and I can tell you now that that decision, I stand by it. The decision of preserving the legacy of Miriam Makeba, and anyone who's opposed to that will challenge to the hilt, because we believe that Mama Makeba is not a private individual, or was not a private citizen. Citizens of South Africa and South Africans as a whole cannot afford to have her fate in the hands of one or two people. South Africans, this year she would have turned 90 had she been alive. So South Africans do not have to ask for permission from somebody else. We are opening up that route that people should enjoy and celebrate her life and who she is. So that's the basis of our engagement on this instance. As I say, that decision, I still stand by it.
Minister, for somebody who is not familiar with the matter, please do remind us of the decision that you took.
Well, I was approached by a number of eminent South Africans, and one of them was the late Brahu, who said that there is a danger of the legacy of Ma Miriam Makeba in the hands of a particular individual. And you have to get permission to do whatever you want to celebrate her or do whatever. You have to get permission from that particular individual. And we said, no, that can't happen. The legacy of Ma Miriam Makeba must be left in the hands of South Africans. Now, because of that, then matters went to court. The family of Ma Miriam Makeba came to us and said they need assistance to ensure that her legacy belongs to South Africans and her family. So we entered into that. The problem then arises between ourselves and the Office of the Public Protector in terms of the interpretation of our own Cultural Act, which, as I say, that as far as I'm concerned and our department is concerned, Ma Miriam Makeba is not a private individual. So we cannot leave that to any individual. We will see how we pursue that so that at the end of the day, no single person will say yea or nay when people want to celebrate her legacy.
And just to confirm, Minister, according to you, no monies were wasted where this is concerned?
Well, it's not wasteful. This cause, I don't see it as wasteful. That's what I'm saying. I don't see it as wasteful. I think that it was a cause which has to be fought. What we need to do is to come to an understanding about how we interpret the heritage, the national treasure in the form of Ma Miriam Makeba. That's all. It's a misinterpretation, but the principle, I stand by it.
Are you able to maybe give us a sum in terms of how much the department has spent on the matter?
This was 500,000 we were talking about.
Thank you very much for that clarity. Just before we let you go, yesterday the derby between Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, a number of supporters taking to the streets wanting the return to see the beloved game. Some of the gentlemen calling themselves spiritual fathers of the game, if you will. So any update where that is concerned?
Well, you know that these are matters which are decided not by an individual minister, nor by an individual person. These are matters which are decided by the Command Council. And the Command Council is going to meet to mull over this matter and give a decision. I can tell you that the Cabinet and different departments have been asked to make presentation or representation about what needs to happen. And we are one of those departments where we are saying that things must be opened. Livelihoods must go back to its place without being reckless. But that's where we are currently until we hear from the Command Council.
Thank you very much for your indulgence this afternoon, Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, and that's Mr. Nathi Mthethwa.